hope you all are excited tonight.
Hello.
Hello, Auntie Sonia.
Lovely to see you.
Yes, it's lovely to see you as well.
Again, we saw each other
Again.
in talking.
We're waiting for a couple people to join us. I suspect they're trying to get all the children tucked up and into bed so they could go to sleep after the bedtime story.
Of course, of course, of course. It's a fun thing to do to listen to bedtime stories. I mean, I did that, when you were growing up. You got those lovely little stories that your parents would tell.
hmm Yeah.
Then
I
you
used
go
to
to
love
sleep.
reading stories with my mommy.
Yes. Why not?
She used to read to me all the time.
Yes. And it encourages a love of reading, because that's where you
Mm,
imagine lives, when you read something and you can imagine what it looks like or sounds like, or
yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
I remember saving up all my little allowance, and then at the end of the month, she'd take me to the bookstore and I could choose any book I wanted. And, and somehow my allowance was always just a little bit more than I saved.
Oh,
But I didn't know that at the time.
Lord, that was great. That's great. That's great. She got you into that kind of mode very quickly and very early.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
a
You
good
go to
book,
your own world.
in this day and age, you can't beat a good book.
No, still can't.
Can't
I'm
beat.
still one of the people who love to smell books.
Yeah, I know. I'm one of those.
Mhm.
And I could flip through the pages and just imagine what it holds for you. So,
Exactly. It's
yeah,
nowhere else like a book.
nowhere else like a book. All that imagination flowing,
Mm.
flowing,
We're
flowing,
getting a
flowing.
few people coming on now. I might give them, should we give them another minute or so
Sure.
to log on?
And start.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. Well, welcome back, everybody. We are tonight reading you a bedtime story. It's a lovely initiative by Read2Me TT bedtime series. There's a new story every night. All
Yes.
right. And so we hope you're ready. Grab your blankie, grab your teddy bears, and settle back as Auntie Sonia and I read your story.
Yes, for sure. It's going to be great. I'm just kind of picking up. I think I lost my Dropbox thing, so I'm just going to make sure I have it.
Okay.
Because just here,
Well,
just
what
now.
I'll do is
Oh, what fun!
I'll introduce myself in the meantime, shall I?
Yes, sure.
All right.
Do
So,
that.
for those of you little ones who haven't met me before and haven't seen me before, I'm Auntie Beanie. That's what my nephew calls me, Auntie Beanie. Some people call me Auntie Beans. You could choose whichever one you like. All right. And I'm a nurse and I'm a midwife. So basically, what that means is I look after people when they're sick and I help them to get better. It also means that I look after ladies when they're having babies. So when your mommy was having you, I was looking after her and I help babies to be born. And when they're born, we help mummies and babies to be all right. And we teach mummies how to take care of babies and to feed you. And we taught them how to change your diaper and all those types of things. How many of you could remember when you still had your pull-ups on?
Oh, wow. Back in
Oh, dear.
days. Well, I'm back up. I don't know what
Good.
happened, but I have it back up now, so I'm good. And my name is Auntie Sonia, and I am a mixture of many things. But I'm in the arts, and what I do is I am a choreographer. That's a big word, but what it means is that I make dances, I create dances, and sometimes I even dance the dances.
Oh, I
Uh,
like it.
and you'd be interested to know that I'm also a filmmaker and I make films for big people and little people. And I recently opened a museum just for children. It's called Zoom Zoom, which is
Can the
actually,
adults come as well?
of course they can. I get moms and daddies and grannies and
Oh,
grandpas.
good.
So that's what I do, and I'm thrilled to be here and to be talking to you and reading for you and just loving up the act of reading.
All right, kids. So before we start our story, for the past few weeks, we've all had to stay home for a while. We've all had to be inside. We couldn't go out and play. We couldn't hug our friends, and we still can't go out and play, and we still can't hug our friends. And all of it is because we're trying to stay safe. And one of the reasons that we are staying safe and the country has done such a great job in staying safe is because you guys have been so good at staying home from school, staying home from playing with your friends and all of these types of things. And we know that this has been hard and it's been a little bit boring at times and all that, but you are our superheroes. You have done this. You are the ones and you are the reasons that has made us safe. And hopefully, because you've continued to do that, we will all be able to play and hug each other and things soon. But it's just for a little while longer. And I know
Yes.
it's going to get a bit confusing because mommy and daddy are going to have to go back to work, or some mummies and daddies are going to have to go back to work from tomorrow. But we still need you to stay home because your staying home keeps mommy and daddy safe while they go back to work.
Excellent. I know y'all will be superheroes, every one of y'all.
Yes, you already are. We should give you a round of applause, really. There you go, mommy and daddy. Give them a round of applause.
That's wonderful. Well, this book that we are about to read from is chapter 2 of a book that is called Soufriere Hills, or Fury on the Soufriere Hills. And this is chapter 2, and it's written by Carol Otley Mitchell, and it's published by Caribbean Reads. Okay, so we're going to get started.
Great. And just before we get started, remember last night was chapter 1. And last night, the boys were falling down the volcano. So what happens next, Auntie Sonja?
Yes, well, the two children tumbled down the crater's sides into the volcano's cavernous mouth. Mark kept expecting to reach the bottom, but it seemed like it would never come. He wondered how deep the pond at the bottom was. If he fell in, would he be able to stand? To make things worse, it also felt as if the ground was shaking under him. Eventually, he approached a ledge on the steep slope, and his rolling slowed and then stopped. He lay still for a while, trying to catch his breath. He moved his arms gingerly. They hurt horribly, and he thought something was broken. But when he bent his arms, he realized that they were just badly bruised by the trees he had encountered on his way down. He looked up behind him to gauge how far down he had fallen, but he couldn't see the top of the crater. He looked down to see how far he was from the pond at the bottom, but he couldn't see that either. That's weird. He had to find Frankie and then figure out how the two of them would get out of this mess. He got to his feet and walked forward, marveling at how much larger the crater seemed now that he was inside. "Frankie!" he shouted, cupping one hand to his mouth. "Frankie!" He heard a groan nearby. "Frankie!" he called again, turning in the direction of the sound.
"No, it's Kyle," came the reply. "Kyle, what are you doing down here?" "I was right behind you when you fell, and I kind of jumped in to try to help you," he admitted. Are you okay?" Mark asked. "I think so, but my body hurts like if I fell into a volcano," Mark laughed. "Trust you to find this funny." Well, Mark helped Kyle to his feet. He dusted off his dirt-covered clothes, and the boys looked around. "I can't see the edge of the crater." Mark shared his concerns with Kyle. "I wouldn't have thought it to be so deep." "And wide. I thought it would be like sitting in a cup, but I can't see the sides," Kyle added. "It's almost like we're not in a crater," Mark said. He was truly confused. The vegetation looked into the crater from The vegetation was the same as what Mark had seen when he looked into the crater from the top, on the boulder on the rim. They were surrounded by lush undergrowth in some places, as tall as they were, and by trees here and there of varying heights. The tall grasses, the deep green ferns, and other plants covered the gently sloping land that stretched out ahead of them. There was a mountain range some kilometers away. The top of the tallest mountain was hidden by thick clouds. Mark pointed to the mountaintop and asked, "Could that be Mount Liamuiga?" "Couldn't be. We're inside the crater of Mount Liamuiga," Kyle replied.
Well, it's not Brimstone Hill, Mark said, thinking of the small hill that lay near Mount Liamuiga. It's way too tall and too wide, too many peaks. But if that is Mount Liamuiga, how did we get outside? We fell in. I have no idea, but first things first, Mark said. We need to find Frankie. That troublemaker. Do we really need to find him? Kyle grumbled. Mark rolled his eyes and walked forward. Frankie! They called out in unison. They shouted 5 or 6 times before they heard a soft groan. He's somewhere over there, Kyle pointed behind them. The 2 boys trampled hurriedly through the thick green underbrush in the direction of the noise. They found Frankie sitting up, almost hidden from sight, in between some short, broad-leaved plants. He was rubbing his head and looking a bit dazed. "Oh, what happened?" he said slowly. "We fell into a crater, thanks to you, that's what happened," Kyle answered. "Get up. You need to get out of here." Kyle stretched a hand out to Frankie, who grasped it and struggled to his feet. He put his weight on his left foot and cried out in pain. He slid back to the ground. "My ankle, it hurts. I can't walk." Mark took a look at Frankie's foot. The ankle was scratched and bloody and looked a little swollen. "Great," Kyle groaned. "What now?" "We wait. I'm sure we'll be rescued in no time," Mark promised.
"Wouldn't it be better if we tried to climb back up to the top?" Kyle suggested. "I don't think so," Mark added. "That Frankie's hurt. Besides, there's no up unless you want to climb that mountain." He pointed to the mountain that towered behind them. Frankie looked in the direction in which Mark pointed. "Hey," he said, "that looks like—" "Nah, it couldn't be." "Let's just wait here. I'm sure my dad will find us soon," Mark said. But as he looked around, he wasn't too sure at all. Mark and Kyle stood looking down at Frankie. Both boys were deep in thought, and no one spoke a word. For a moment, the valley was very still. There was no breeze, no movement in the trees, and no sign of any other life. Suddenly, there was a flutter of activity behind the boys. They looked at each other in panic as about 15 white, long-necked birds flew over their heads. "Something's over there," Mark said. He guessed that it was about as far away as the length of a cricket pitch, maybe 2. "Probably an animal," Kyle said. "Maybe it's someone coming to rescue us," Frankie suggested. "I'm going to find out," Kyle said as he started off in the direction of the disturbance. "No, it's too dangerous," Mark shouted. "Well, if we just sit here and it is an animal, it will probably eat us for dinner," Kyle said over his shoulder. "If it was my dad, he'd be shouting our names," Mark reasoned.
" ." Frankie looked as if he was about to cry. Don't worry. Mark tried to sound brave. He went closer to Frankie and put an arm around him. Kyle's just trying to scare you. Come back, Mark shouted for Kyle. We have to stick together. We need a plan. I wish Chee Chee was here. I didn't see him around when I fell into the crater, Kyle offered. He had turned around and walked back to the other two boys. Well, we could wait and see if he comes to rescue us, Mark suggested. You two hit your heads when you fell, Frankie said. Anyone ever tell you you're really rude? Kyle snapped. You want to sit here with wild animals nearby and wait for a monkey to rescue us? You must be crazy. Frankie looked at Mark and Kyle scornfully. Mark knew that Frankie had no idea about the adventures that he, Kyle, and their friend Ingrid had had with Chee Chee. He tried to think of how to start explaining. He didn't have much time to think of that. The ground shook vigorously. Mark and Kyle held on to each other to keep from falling to the ground. Was that an earthquake? Frankie sounded scared. Tears slipped down his cheeks. Mark wished he could cry too, but he tried to be brave for Frankie's sake. I don't know what's going on, Mark confessed. He decided not to mention that he had felt the ground shaking as he tumbled down the hill. Mount Liamuega's been dormant for centuries. I don't think she's going to start erupting now, Kyle said. Soufriere Hills are dormant too, until it erupted. Volcanoes are sleeping until they wake up, Frank said bitterly. There was another disturbance in the bushes near to them. Mark whipped around in time to see another flock of birds, small, black, and yellow birds, rise into the air, this time from a spot closer to the children than the first flock. He turned back to face Frankie and Kyle. He didn't know how much more he could handle. Volcanoes, earthquakes, and wild animals. He wondered what would be next.
Frankie's right, Kyle said. We can't just sit here and wait for help. Besides, we're in the present. Maybe Chee Chee can't do anything now, only in the past. Maybe we are in the past, suggested Mark. Maybe that's why everything looks so different. The past. What are you two talking about? Frankie looked convinced that Mark and Kyle had lost their minds. Well, Chee Chee, my pet monkey, he has a way of taking us magically into the past, Mark stuttered, knowing that his words sounded completely ridiculous. Impossible, Frankie said. Just because you haven't seen it happen, Kyle countered. Before Mark could explain further, he heard a rustling noise behind him. He turned around. His hand flew to his mouth, and all three boys were in shock. But Kyle recovered first. Impossible, Kyle said to Frankie. So, how do you explain that?
Enjoyed it. That was chapter 2. And there are a lot more chapters to go.
Featuring more of Chee Chee.
With Chee Chee, of Carol Otley Mitchell's book. So stay tuned for tomorrow and the day after and after and after, and you'll find out why they were in the volcano, how they got into the volcano, and if they're really in the present or the past. And
what do you think they saw, Auntie Sonja?
I don't know. I think
kids, what do you think they saw?
Yes, it's a good question to ask because it's a volcano. We know they saw birds. We know they saw a lot of green, lush plants. We know the feeling the rumble of an earthquake. And they know too that they might have been in a volcano, or they might not. Or was it really an earthquake? I don't know. Felt, I don't know. But what is going on for sure is an adventure.
Yes, a grand adventure at that.
Grand adventure.
With a monkey that could time travel.
Who wouldn't want a monkey like that?
Fabulous story so far. Can't wait to hear tomorrow's chapter.
Yes. But anyway, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. And for Read2Me TT's series on bedtime stories. It's a great, great, great series. Keep tuned. Keep finding out about this book and others. And we hope you have a wonderful, dreamy, lovely night. And, you know, maybe Chee Chee will come and maybe he'll come and take you for a little ride around the future.
Yes, indeed.
Ride around the future. Fun, always fun.
Yeah.
Just keep safe, because you know we're still going to be the superheroes that we need to be.
Exactly.
So you can.
We still need to keep washing our hands. Remember, washing our hands, front, back, the fingers, all your nails, around your wrist for 20 seconds at least.
Yes.
So it's the time you take to sing happy birthday twice.
Yes.
Remind mommy, daddy, aunties, uncles, grandparents to wear your masks. All right, when they're going out. If you are going out, you've got to wear your mask as well.
Yes.
Very, very important.
Funky masks around. There are some really cool masks that you can wear.
Yeah.
I have a mask, Auntie Beena, with a hummingbird on it. It's so cool.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, it's really nice. I have a mask with a hummingbird. I have a mask in check fabric. I have a plain mask. I'm having fun with the mask. Because if I have to wear them, you might as well have fun.
You might as well. I even make my teddy bear wear a mask if he's going out so that I stay safe.
I see your teddy bear in the back. Very cool.
Shall we put a mask on Chee Chee?
Have to stay safe.
Yes, we have got to stay safe. Remember, remind mommy and daddy if they're going to work tomorrow to take their mask with them. All right? Because we want everybody to stay healthy. We want everybody to stay safe. Remember that we're still wanting you to stay inside because you staying inside keeps the rest of us that have to go to work safe.
Yes.
All right?
Very
important. On that note, we know that you've been our little superheroes. We know it's because of you that things are getting better. And it's only a little while again.
Yes.
All right? So, from Auntie Sonia, from Auntie Beans, and Chee Chee, who's got his mask on because he's going out. All right? He needs to get some bananas.
See you.
All right? So, good night, everybody. Sleep well and sweet dreams.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.